Generation number 18. Social media is an extremely powerful vehicle, isn't it? And I wonder whether you've seen, as many thousands of people have seen, the little clip from James Corden's Late Late Show, a show that the British comedian and entertainer undertakes on a daily basis, I think, in America. At the moment in coronavirus world, he's doing it from his garage, and everything is, of course, done virtually. But this week, one of the slots in his show was a comment upon the fact that President Trump had held up a Bible outside a church building. James Corden grew up in a family where the Bible was often read, and perhaps more importantly, thousands literally were sold. His dad, Malcolm Corden, was a Christian bookseller, and James invited his dad from the UK onto his show to explain how you really ought to hold a Bible. More important than holding it was reading it. And Malcolm Corden took the opportunity to read a few verses from Psalm 37 live on James Corden's show, beamed around the United States, and with Facebook and Instagram and Twitter now beamed all across the world. That's how I got to see it myself. He read some wonderful words, just for a few verses from Psalm 37, that are a great encouragement and inspiration for us in these isolating times. I want to read you just 4 of those verses from Psalm 37 this afternoon. Picking up at verse 3. Trust in the Lord and do good. Dwell in the land and enjoy safe pasture. Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. Commit your way to the Lord, trust in him, and he will do this. He will make your righteousness shine like the dawn, the justice of your cause like the noonday sun. The verses go on to explain some wonderful things for us to think about. But just in those few verses, we're reminded that even when we perhaps can't understand what's going on and our society is ravaged by inexplicable situations at the moment, whether it's racial tension, economic uncertainty, fear of a rising R number, we're reminded that even though we can't always see where God is or what God is doing, we do know that he is in absolute control, sovereign over all things. A number of decades ago, the well-known preacher Charles Haddon Spurgeon said these words: God is too good to be unkind, and he is too wise to be mistaken. And when you cannot trace his hand, we must trust his heart. Aren't those wonderful words of encouragement? When we can't trace his hand, we must trust his heart. What's God's heart like? Well, from those verses that Malcolm Corden read out, and I've just read out from Psalm 37, God's heart is a heart full of compassion. He wants to keep us safe. God's heart is a heart that overflows with generosity. He wants to give and give and give again. God's heart is filled with faithfulness. What he says, he will do. And God's heart is full of a desire to honour those who walk in righteousness and do justice. That's God's heart for us. We must trust his heart. And we trust him by doing as he says. Doing good. Delighting in him. Committing our way to him. Being righteous. And walking with justice. Can I encourage you that when you can't trace his hand, we must trust God's heart? Will you? I hope and pray that you will. And God bless you as you walk in accordance with his word and in tune with his heart.